All right. So today we'll see how we can handle dialogues, and then we will discuss about frames, iframes, how we can handle iframes on the web page. Okay, so basically in Playwright, so the dialog or alert windows are exactly the same. So sometimes when you're doing some actions on the web pages, so immediately you will get some kind of alert or some kind of a dialog box. So until unless we handle those dialogs or alerts, we cannot proceed further. So we should able to handle them. So the handling the alert window or dialogues is totally different when you compare with Selenium and Playwright. So in the Playwright, there is a different mechanism which we have to handle the dialogues. So basically, Playwright will automatically handle the dialogues. So suppose if there is any dialogue is appeared or if there is an alert box is appeared on the web page, so Playwright will automatically close it. So by default, we don't need to handle the alert box or dialog box. But sometimes if you want to do some kind of validations on it, so then we will capture the dialog box. So by using something called, we can call this as something event handler. So we can call them as a event handler. So we need to capture them and we can do certain validations on them. But otherwise, if you don't want to do any validations, then by default, the dialog alert window will be automatically closed by Playwright. So that is a default mechanism or default feature which we have in the Playwright. But in Selenium, we have to handle it. So we cannot skip it. But in Playwright, it is optional. So Playwright will automatically close it. But if you want to do certain operations, then now certain validations, then we need to handle the alert box. Okay. All right. So first of all, let us look at their documentation and then see what they are saying about the dialogues. Let's go back to their official website and the dialogue. So basically, what is a dialogue? So Playwright can interact with the web page dialogues. And there are multiple types of dialogues like alert box, confirmation, prompt, and so on. And these are the different uh, type of dialogues which you have. So basically, these dialogues are designed by using JavaScript itself. So Playwright will automatically handle this. So by default, dialogues are auto dismissed by Playwright. So whenever some dialogue is appeared, we can this is automatically dismissed by Playwright. So you don't have to handle them. But however, you can register a dialog handler before the action that triggers the dialog to either dialog.accept or dialog.dismiss. So these are the two methods currently provided by Playwright. So by default, dismiss will work. By default, dialog.dismiss is a default method. As soon as some dialog or alert box is appeared on the web page, dismiss method automatically triggered. But again, if you want to accept the dialog or if you want to capture some text from the dialog or if you want to provide some text into the dialog box, so then we should able to handle that. So we have something called dialog handler and we need to specify that before the action that triggers the dialog. So whenever what is the dialog means, it is an action. It is an event will be triggered. Whenever you do some action, some alert will appear. That is an event. So before starting that event, we need to define something called a dialog handler before the action. Okay, before the action. For example, they have given the code here. Well, look at here. This is actual statement. Page dot get by role button dot click. So when I click on this, let us say assume this is open some dialog window or some alert window. So to capture that window, that event, we don't capture the window actually. We are capturing some event. This is an event. So to capture this event before the statement, before opening the dialog, we need to add this statement. We have a method called page.on, page.on and dialog, which is basically an event name. And this dialog, whatever dialog event we specified, capture the dialog and accept it. So this is a method. And here they have mentioned only one single method, but if you want to do some any other further actions on the dialog, we can do that. Okay. So before, when you click on this button, it will open up the alert box. And to capture that alert box and to register and handler for that alert box, we use this particular statement. Okay, this is the three types of dialogues we can see on the web pages normally. Okay, so let us see how we can handle them through Playwright. Go to our VS Code editor, test new file, and I call it as a dialogues, which is also called as a alert boxes. dialogs.spec.ts. Okay, so here we have a three different type of dialogs. We can call them as a alert type and confirm type and prompt type. So these are the three types of dialogs. We can call them as a JavaScript alerts also. So I'm just giving the reference page documentation. You can read it. So by default, dialogs are auto dismissed by Playwright. So you don't have to handle them. So let us see how it is able to dismiss. And then we will see how we can do different actions on the alert boxes. So I'm just importing the required package. So here I'm going to show you three different type of alerts. Go to our automation practice page. And here you can see there are three buttons you can see. So once you click on the simple alert, so this is called a simple alert. So we don't have any elements. So basically the alert or dialog boxes, we cannot inspect the elements. So this is basically JavaScript alert. So we cannot inspect anything on this. So we cannot inspect the OK button. We cannot inspect the text. We cannot inspect anything on this. So this particular things cannot be displayed on the DOM. This is one type of alert, simple alert. And confirmation alert, you can see that there are two buttons. We can either accept or OK or cancel. OK means it will be accepted. Cancel means it is dismissed. So when I click on OK button, so you can see some display message here. You press OK. And when I say cancel, you can see here, you pressed cancel. So based on this message, we can confirm whether we dismissed or accepted this dialog. And the third one is prompt alert. When I click on this prompt alert, you can see some input box. By default, some text is displayed. You can replace this text. And again, we can dismiss and we can accept. These are purely dialog boxes, JavaScript dialogs. Okay, and pop-ups are different. So pop-ups and alerts are not same as per Playwright. So pop-ups and pages, tabs, they are all comes under the different category. So to handle them, we need to understand the browser context, and then we need to understand how to create a context page and all the other concepts. So in the next sessions, we will discuss more on them. But today we will focus more on only dialogues, alerts. Okay. So these are the only three types of alerts we can see. We can call them as a dialogue or JavaScript alerts. Okay. So I'll show you all three one by one. So let us see how we can handle in the Playwright. So this is totally different than Selenium. So in Selenium, we have a methods called switch to method, switch to alert, switch to window, switch to frame to handle windows, frames, and everything. But handling these three elements in Playwright is totally different. Okay. All right. So first, let me start writing one test method and write the description alert with okay, or you can say simple alert. Or we can say simple dialogue. So in Playwright language, normally we can call them as a dialogue. So simple dialogue and then write an arrow function. And inside this, we need to pass a page picture and which is a synchronous function. Okay. Now, so the first thing we need to launch our web page. So I'm just saying await dot go to and then the page. So after that, what I'll do is I will try to click on the simple alert. So as soon as you click on it, it will open the alert box, right? And then we should close it. But what Playwright will do, Playwright will automatically dismiss the alert. So as soon as it opens, Playwright will automatically close this, right? So let me inspect this element first, simple alert. And there is an ID available for this. And you can use this ID as a part of CSS. Yeah, one element is matching. Go back and I'm directly click on the element, which will open the alert or dialog. So I can say await page dot locator and dot click. So dot click. So this will opens the dialog. So I'm just waiting here again. Await page dot wait for timeout. I just want to see whether that alert is open or not. After that, it will automatically close. I'm not handling any dialog here. I'm just clicking on the button, which will open the dialog box and see whether it is dismissing by default or not. So go to terminal and just run the script. So dialogs dot spec.ts and headed mode. Just observe, I launched my page. So the dialog will automatically closed by Playwright and it's closed. So it is not giving any error actually if I look at this. So let us see the report. You can say npx playwright show hyphen report. So if you look at the report, all the steps are successfully executed. So it is open the page, it is also click on the button and just wait for some time and automatically closed. So that we cannot see, it is not visible on the page. How it is get closing, it is not visible. It is automatically done by the Playwright. So it will not interrupt any execution process. So when I use Playwright, in between any alert boxes or dialogues comes on the page, that won't interrupt our execution. But in Selenium is not like that. Until unless we close or we need to display explicitly, we need to accept or we need to dismiss the alert box explicitly, then only we will able to proceed further actions. But in Playwright, so these things will not interrupt our execution process. Okay, that is the one thing we need to understand. Okay, so but still, I want to capture this alert window at the runtime, and then I want to verify something. Let's say I want to capture this message, and then I want to close this using OK button. Or if it is a confirmation alert also, so then I can dismiss it or I can accept it. So both the choices are there. And I want to verify this message, whether I cancel or not, I can okay or not. And if it is a prompt alert, then I want to capture the default text here, or else I just want to replace the text. So if you want to do these type of actions, then we need to capture the alert. So we are not capturing the alert. We are triggering some event. So before clicking or before opening the alert box, we will define some event that will capture it. So what I will do is, so here we are clicking on the dialog. So this will opens dialog. So before clicking on this dialog, we need to add something here. What is that? So if I go back to this documentation again, so this is a statement they are giving. So page dot on, what exactly the statement do, we'll understand. Page dot on, so await. Here await is not needed. So we are directly calling one method from the page itself. So page dot on, dialog is an event. So this is fixed value. So we should not change it. This is the event name. And here basically this is an arrow function. They have given shortcut like this. So you can put this in the bracket also. It's an arrow function. So in arrow function, if you have a one single statement, you don't need to put the curly brace. So here the curly brace is optional. If you want to keep, you can keep it or else optional. So in the shortcut, they have created this statement. Actually, this is a function. So first parameter, page dot on method will take two parameters. First parameter is an event, name of the event. And the second parameter is an arrow function. Second parameter is an arrow function. So what is this arrow function? This arrow function will take this event. And once you take this event, what this will do from the event, it is accepting. Here we use all the methods, accept, dismiss, or whatever actions we do on the dialog, we can do by using different methods. If you have a single statement under the arrow function, we no need to use curly brace. Otherwise, we need to use a curly brace. So let me try to use curly brace here. Let me put this in the next line so that it will be more clear for you. So this is an arrow function basically. So page.on method will trigger an event, will catch that event. What event it will capture? So dialog event. As soon as the dialog is open, it will catch it. And once it is catched, what it will do? It will just accept it. But we don't see the effect on the web page because by default it is able to do that, right? So let me try to execute and see. Clear. And sorry. Okay, so now let me run the test once again. So it is successfully clicked on the simple alert. You can see the button is highlighted, but it won't show any effect on the web page. So it is simply accepted it. But other than what else we can do? So we can also get what type of dialogue it is. As I said, three types of dialogues, right? We can say alert type dialogue, confirmation type, and prompt type. So these are three different type of alerts. So let me capture what type of alert it is opened before accepting. So for that, what I'll do is I can add some more code here. So remember, this particular thing will catch that event and perform the actions before opening the dialog itself. We need to use. So this won't work after you put this statement. Okay, because when you put this after the statement, by the time it clicked, the event is already done. So it cannot do anything after event is completed. So before starting the event, it should be ready to catch that event. So basically, this is waiting for the next event, what we are going to do. So that is the reason we have to put this before the statement. Okay. Now we have just accepted the dialog. So what else we can do is we can capture the type of the dialog, whether it is alert dialog or prompt dialog, what type of dialog it is, we can capture and we can print it. So for that, I can say console.log off and just printing, I say dialog type is. And how can we capture the dialog type? Very simple. Take this dialog and use a method called type. So this will actually returns the type of the dialog. So what type of dialog we have handled. And apart from this, what else we can do is we can also capture the text from the dialog. So let's say here I have some text. This is not the text actually. The bottom one is the actual text of the dialog. I am an input. I am on alert box. So this is the text I want to capture. So to capture this text, we can write another statement. I can say console.log off dialog text. So to capture the text from the dialog, again take this dialog event name dot. There is a method called message. Okay, so this will actually return the message from the dialog box. So returns message from dialog, and this will returns type of the dialog. Okay, so we have done two things. Can we put assertions here on the dialog? Yes. So we can put assertions also. On the type, we can put assertion, or the message also we can put assertions. For example, let's say I printed the dialog type, right? So I want to add some assertion on this. So to add assertion, we can simply say expect of and take this dialog dot type and dialog dot type to contain alert. So this is actually type of the dialog alert type. So this is one assertion. Similarly, can we put assertion on this message? So what is a message we are expecting? That also we can put. So expect, again, we already captured the dialog.message, right? So use the same method here. So once you capture this message, again use to contain, and whatever message you are expecting, you can put that message. So if we go back here, this is a message we are expecting on the dialog. So that you can specify that. That's it. And after that, we can just accept the dialog. Okay. So this is totally different mechanism I said before. So in the Playwright, by default, all dialog boxes or dialogues will be automatically dismissed by Playwright itself. Okay, so whenever you click on this, immediately the dialog box will be closed. The Playwright will do that job. But what is our intention is we need to create an event. So what this will do, it is enable event handler, enable alert handling. So this is the particular statement will do that. So I've shown you the documentation also. If I look at back here, so this particular statement is actually opening the dialog. But before opening the dialog, we need to register a dialog handler. So this is basically called as a dialog handler. So you can see that message. By default, dialogs are auto dismissed by Playwright. So after performing this action, you won't see the dialog first of all on the web page. You won't see the dialog because it is automatically dismissed by the Playwright itself. So after performing this click, you cannot do anything on the dialog. But before clicking on this, we can register one event which will capture the event. So basically opening the alert box or triggering the alert is an event. So that event we have to catch by enabling alert handler. Okay, this is the mechanism which we need to follow in Playwright. And if I put this after this event, so it cannot do anything. So because already the alert is already triggered. So after triggered, Playwright is already handled this. Playwright is already closed it. So after closing, there is no event. So this cannot be captured it. So before triggering, before opening the dialog, we have to enable alert handling. Same concept is applicable for pop-ups and multiple windows also. When you're working with a multiple windows, same concept. So whenever the statement is open something, before that, we need to register event. Okay. So clearly the documentation says by default, dialogs are auto dismissed by Playwright. So you don't have to handle them. However, you can register a dialog handler before the action that triggers the dialog. This is the important point. So we can register a dialog handler before the action that triggers. So we have registered the dialog handler here. So this is a actual terminology. So here by using this page.on method, we register a dialog handler. So the dialog is an event. And we have written one arrow function in this. We can do whatever operations you want to do on the alert or dialog by using this dialog. Okay. So what we have done here, we have just find out the type of the dialog and the message from the dialogs. And then we have accepted it by default, right? So now let us see how it is printing. Clear this and then execute once again. So at the runtime, see this, it is immediately closing, opening, but it is immediately closing very fast. Right. So now perfectly fine. So all the assertions are got passed. You can see this is type of a dialog is alert, which is exactly matched with this. And the dialog text is I am an alert box. So this is the validation we can do. So this is a simple dialog. Now, so let me show you another type of dialog. The second type of dialog is confirmation dialog. Yes, this is the prerequisite. This is the keyword. You should not change that. Okay, this is the keyword. Dialog is a name of the event. So that is a fixed value. So you can see the syntax in the official web page. So page.dialog listener must handle the dialog. Otherwise, your action will start to be located or click or something else. So this won't work actually. So page.on dialog, this is the keyword. So you must use this keyword. Right. So now let me show you some other type of dialog. So we have done with this. So I will make another test. Test dot only. So this time I'm just trying to run only this particular code. Line number 20. Yeah, it is. You can see the code. You can see the output in the console. You can see this is the output. Dialog type is alert. Dialog text is I am an alert box. You can see the text. So if you want to see this again, you need to do manually. So you can just try to manually here once and you can see the message here. This is the message and this is the OK button. Okay, so we are just capturing and we are comparing. That's it. So I just printed this console.log. So you can just print it and then I can put assertion here. Same thing for type also. I just printed the type first and then I just compare with this type. Very simple, very easy you can do. So we'll see another dialog. So this time I'll show you confirmation dialog. We can call them as a confirmation dialog or confirmation alert. So what is confirmation dialog or confirmation alert? So we have two buttons, OK and cancel. So we can either dismiss or we can accept. So we can do both. By default, Playwright will dismiss the alert. It won't accept actually, it will dismiss the alert. But if you want to accept, you have to use a method called dialog.accept method. Same procedure. So let me show you now. So I just launched my page and so let it be there. Register dialog handler also exactly the same. We will add some more things here. But which one we need to click? So second one, confirmation alert. So when you click on this, then you will get this. We have two buttons this time. Again, when I say OK, now you can see this message. You pressed OK. We can also validate this message after accepting alert. Or when I click on this again, if I click on cancel, so you can see you pressed cancel. So after canceling or after dismissing alert, we can also verify this message. So first of all, inspect this confirmation alert. And there is an ID available for this hash confirmation button. So one element is matching. So let me get this element. So I'm just changing this code, right? So this opens confirmation dialog, right? So everything is there. Now I will add some more things in this dialog handler. So because before clicking on the dialog, we need to do whatever you want on that particular dialog. Okay, so here again, the dialog type. So this time the dialog type will be different. So the dialog type is not an alert. The dialog type is confirm. Dialog type is confirm. Okay, that we are verifying. And dialog text or the dialog text, if you want to display dialog.message. So do we have any message in this dialog? Yeah, so this is a message. This will capture. Press a button. This is the message. So I will just change this, right? So what else we can do on this? So we can do either accept or dismiss. So in the previous one, so we have only OK button. So we just use only accept method. We cannot use dismiss. But here we have two options. Either we can use OK or cancel. OK means we can use accept. Cancel means we can use dismiss. So apart from this, what I'll do is I will say accept. I'll say accept, or you can say dismiss also. So what this accept will do, it will close a dialog by accepting. And similarly, if I use dismiss, dialog dot dismiss, so this will close dialog by dismissing. Means it is basically rejecting the dialog. So these are the two methods, accepting or dismissing. So this time we will see dismiss. So when I say dismiss means cancel, you will see you pressed cancel. So we will verify this message also after dismissing the alert. So I'm just doing dismiss. So validations we should do out of this dialog handler. So we don't do anything here. So because by the when I do dialog.dismiss, this dialog will automatically closed. So now again we come back to our original page. So where exactly this message is displayed on the web page. So we need to validate this outside of the handler. Okay, so in this we cannot do anything other than this. So now once you click on the confirmation, event will be triggered and it will validate all these things. And after that, I will add one assertion here to just verify the message. So whether we dismissed or accepted, how we will know that? When I click on the cancel dismiss, you can see this message. So this message we can validate. So inspect this message and you pressed cancel. So this message text will keep changing. When I say okay, so it will say you pressed okay. When I click on cancel, then it becomes you press cancel. So how to capture this text element using locator? So ID is available. So I can say hash ID demo. So this will actually return the element. So the text element, I'm just capturing from this. So await page dot locator. So this is again same locator. And how to capture this text from this element? How to capture the text from the element? single text from the single element, either text context or inner text. So dot, I'm using inner text. So this will actually returns the text, right? So this will actually returns the inner text of the element. So you can store in a variable and say text, this is a string will be written. I can say const. So now we want to validate the inner text. So we can use one expectation, expect. So whatever text we capture, the text, right? So then how we can compare this dot to have text. Okay, so what you will do is here we just use this for printing console.log of text I'm printing. We can call it as a output text. Okay, so I'm just use it for printing purpose. Now if you want to add a session, so what we can do, we'll directly take this element page.locator, and that locator should have some text. So here I can say to have text. So the method is here. So what is the text we are expecting here is, so whatever text is displayed here, this is the text we are expecting. Simply go back and then provide the text. Just to capture this. Okay. So that's it. So this is a simple validation we can do. So here, do we need a wait? Here it is not needed. But to have text will return a promise. So here we need to keep a wait. That's it. So what else we have done here is we just accept or dismiss the dialog. And after that, again, we come back here and then we capture the text and we print it, and then we have validated whether it is pressed cancel or not. So if you are using dismiss, you need to verify with the you pressed cancel message. Suppose if you are doing accept, when I click on OK, so then the message will be different. Okay. So this is additional thing which we can do on the confirmation dialog. So I'm just running only confirmation dialog. So let's see. So you can just notice it is appeared and immediately it is closing. Now you can see you pressed cancel. So this is the text message which we have seen. So now it is get passed. Similarly, you can also do accept. So when I say accept, now the text will be different. So here we are printing the text. Now the assertion will be different. Same assertion, but we need to change the text. So I just add another assertion. And when I click on this OK, now this is the message. You pressed OK. Now I can change this. Right. Run one more time. Okay, you pressed OK. It is done. So this is the message we got it. And this is the message from the dialog. And this is the confirmation dialog. Type of the dialog is confirmation dialog. Okay. So this is one type of dialog, confirmation dialog. Now, so the next thing is prompt alert or prompt dialog. So when I click on this, you will see some input box, some default text. And there is again OK cancel button. So we cannot inspect these elements. So we can handle this only through dialog event. So first of all, we will able to capture the text message from the dialog and default text from it. And then we will try to change this value also. Suppose if we pass something else, let's say I'm directly passing some name here, John. So as soon as you click on OK, then what happens? That message is displayed here. You can say whatever name we provided in the input box, that will be displayed here. Hello, John. How are you today? Suppose I'm saying prompt alert one more time. So remove this, some XYZ. Say OK. Now you can see that name is get changed. So we need to validate that. So whatever the value we provided in input box inside the dialog, After closing it, we should get only the same thing. Suppose you provided, let us say you provided some default text. Okay. And instead of clicking on OK, I say cancel. So then user canceled the prompt. So this is the different message you will get when you cancel it, right? So all these things we can validate in the prompt alert. Let's see. So I will create another test method. Remove only here. This is another test method. And this is called as prompt alert or prompt dialog. Prompt alert or prompt dialog. Again, same URL, same dialog handler. Now we need to click on the different button. So this is prompt alert. Inspect that element. The ID is available. Prompt button. Hash prompt button, and one element is matching. So get this element and replace it. So this will opens prompt dialog. Okay. So after clicking on this, what we have to do, we will decide later. So before that, so in the dialog handler, so what else we can provide in the dialog handler? So what else we can provide? Yeah. So in the dialog handler, we can provide, so dialog type we can verify. And if you have any dialog message, so if I go back and here it is, this is the dialog message. Please enter your name. So that is actually dialog message. So what I'll do is I can just print the dialog in the text, and I printed, sorry, here. Confirmation dialog we printed. And also if you want to verify that message, you can put it here. Replace. So please enter your name. So this is a dialog message we verified. And so before accepting or dismissing, we need to add one more thing. We have an input box here, right? So we need to capture the default text and verify that. So how we can capture the default text? This is basically called as the default value of this particular dialog. Okay, this is called a default value of the particular dialog box. So to capture the default value, we have a method called, so take this again, dialog dot default value. This is the method. So this will exactly capture the default value. Right. So now we want to add one assertion on it. So to add assertion, put this in the expect and dialog.default value, capture the dialog.default value dot to contain. So what is the default value contain that we need to provide for validation purpose? So Harry Potter, copy this and keep it here. So this is a validation. So default value, whatever is displayed on the dialog box, we can capture it first and then verify to contains Harry Potter. So this is how we can put assertion. So to contain method basically works on the text input. It won't return any promise. So here also we don't need to put any promise. So this is the default value also not returning any promise. So we can simply returning a text. We are comparing the text values here, right? So await is not needed. So this is one validation. So what this will do, it will verify the default value. Checks default value of the dialog. This is one validation. Okay, default value we verified. But how we can replace this value? Suppose I want to pass some other text. Let's say instead of Harry Potter, I will pass John. So how it is possible? So this is possible only when you are accepting the dialog. For example, let's say here we are accepting the dialog, right? So this is a statement we used for accepting the dialog. So at the time of accepting the dialog itself, this accept method will take a parameter also. So that you can pass. So I'm passing John. So when you're accepting the dialog, then pass this value. So then what happens? The John will be replaced. The old value will be replaced with the John. So we have done this. Now, after closing the alert box, we can verify. So how we can verify? Suppose I'm passing John here. After accepting, I will verify this message contains a John or not. So I want to verify this whole message. So that you can capture again. Inspect and ID demo. Say hash demo. So one element matching. Capture it. Again, same demo. We are printing the outer text and expect demo have text. This is the one. So we only when you accept, then only the name will display. If you don't accept, the name won't be displayed. So I'm just using accept here. This means you won't get the name. So after that, I'm verifying the text. So this is the additional text I have added. So this is not relevant here. Right? So if you want to capture the default value of the dialog, we use a default value method. So which will return the value and we verify by using contains. And if you want to pass the value, new value in the dialog, so then you can use same dialog.accept. Along with accept, you need to pass text here. So this text will be filled in the input box. And after accepting, you will see the message in the web page that we are capturing. And here we are printing that message and then we are validating that. So this is how we can handle prompt dialog. Okay. So what is line number 73? Line number 73, yeah, the text we need to pass here. Sorry. So this is the text. So have text in the double quotes, we need to pass the text. Don't give any spaces, then it will not work. Okay, so this is how we can handle prompt alert. Now we can run it. It will open, but immediately it goes. Now you can see it is open the dialog. It should close and it is failed somewhere. So you can see this is not, it is not confirmation type alert actually. It is a prompt type alert, right? So this is, there is a mismatch. So that is the reason this assertion is got failed. So let us try to change. So here, so dialog type is not a confirm, it is a prompt type, right? Clear, and then run one more time. Yes, now it is done. You can see, hello, John, how are you today? So it is displayed John means it is successfully accepted. So this is the output text. This is the dialog text and the type of the dialog is prompt. Okay. So this is how we can handle the dialogs, Playwright dialogs. Remember, the dialogs will automatically handled by the Playwright itself. But if you want to do some validations on it, then we need to define the dialog handler event, this one, before opening the dialog. This is very, very important point. Before opening the dialog, we need to define what type of event it should be triggered whenever the dialog is open. So later on, we can do further validations. So by default, Playwright will handle it. So it won't interrupt our execution process. Okay, that is the main important point in Playwright. Now, so everyone is clear so far how to handle dialogs. And we also call them as a JavaScript alerts. All right, so now let us move on to the another concept, frames, or we can call them as a iframes. So let us see first of all what is a frame or what is iframe and why we need iframe concept in web pages. So sometimes we can embed external pages in the web pages. So without disturbing the existing page, we can just embed some external page in the current page, which is basically called as a iframe or inline frame. Okay, so let me show you an example. I'll try to use one web page here to see the iframes. So sometimes the elements also part of the frame. So in that case, we cannot directly interact with those elements. So first we need to get the frame, and from that frame, we can get the element. Okay, now let me open some page here. So in this page, I have a different frames, and every frame is having again different elements. You can look at this. Yellow box. The yellow box is one frame. Green is another frame. Blue is another frame. Sky blue is another frame. So the different frames are there. And each frame is having some input element. So you can say this is an input element, frame 1. Another input element in the frame 2. Frame 3 input element. Frame 4 and frame 5. And again, if you look at frame 3 is also having another frame. You can see that. iframe inside a frame. So frame 3 itself is one frame. Inside this, there is another frame. This is the external place which is displayed in this frame 3. This is embedded inside the frame 3. So this is called inner frame or nested frame. So frame 3 contains another frame. So for example, if you want to interact with this element or this input element, if you want to pass some text, so we cannot directly interact with this because this is a part of the frame element. So frame contains this element. So if you inspect this and see the DOM here, you can see this is the frame, the first frame element. This is the tag of the first frame. So what is SRC? SRC frame underscore one dot HTML. This is actually source link. From this link, here we embedded this page. For example, let's say if you inspect this, click on this link, or you can see document. So this is actual original link. If you copy this link address and open this in another tab, you can see this is the actual original page. So this URL contains a original page, and this page is embedded inside the another page. Here you can see yellow box. Okay, so every frame is having some SRC, which is an external link. This is a full link of this SRC. So when I open this link, then only you will see the original page. And this particular page is embedded inside this particular page. This is frame. And similarly, if I inspect the second frame, green color, and this is a frame 2, frame underscore 2.html. This is the actual link of the frame 2. Copy this address and open this. So this is actual frame 2. So this is also external page which is embedded in the current page. Similarly, every frame is actually an external web pages. Frame 1 is another page, frame 2 is another page, frame 3, frame 4. These are all external pages. Even this also, you can see this is a form, Google form. This is again part of the frame 3. So this is also frame, external frame. And frame 5 is also external. And if I click on this link, the bottom link, it will open another external page. You can see that. Opens another page. At the runtime, it will get the new page. Again, it will internally having some Ajax call. So as soon as you click on the link, it get the new page from the server. Okay. So sometimes you can see the elements are present inside the frames. So in those cases, you cannot directly interact with those elements. So before interacting with the elements, we need to grab the frame. Frame is also an element. So we need to grab the frame. And once you grab the frame, from that particular frame, we can handle the elements. Okay. So let me show you what are the different methods are available. So again, this is also totally different than Selenium. Selenium, we have a different method, switch between the frames, switch to alert, switch to frame methods are there. But in this, we don't have a switching commands. So we directly deal with the frames. But when you compare with Selenium, in the Playwright, it is more easier. Okay. So let's see how we can handle this. So why double click come into here? Double click. That is a mouse action, right? So we will discuss mouse action separately, okay? So that won't come here. That's not at all relevant to the current concept. Double click, right click, drag and drop. These are all mouse actions. They are not related to this concept. Okay. Now we'll see how we can handle this frames one by one. So I'll show you different methods are available, and go back to the test, create a new file, frames dot spec dot ts. So we can call them as a frame or form or iframe. So the different terminologies. Okay, we can call them as a frame. So which is another concept, nested frame or inner frame. So it means a frame is already contains another frame, which is called as a child frame. So we will also see how we can handle the child frames. So basically, what is an iframe? According to the Playwright definition, an iframe, short form of inline frame, is an HTML element that allows you to embed another HTML document within the current document. Means what? This is our current document, but here this is a different document. This is a different page actually, totally. That page, this is the page we have embedded into in the current document. So that is the definition of iframe. And what else? Iframes are commonly used to embed external content. Like sometimes you can see videos also. Sometimes you can see maps or any other web pages into web page within the parent document. So this is, we can say, parent document. The whole page is called as a parent document, parent page. And inside this, we have a different frames. Again, if you have frame contains another frame, which is called as a child frame. And from the child frame perspective, let's say here form filling demo page. This is a child page of the frame 3. Child frame of the frame 3. So from the child page perspective, frame 3 is a parent frame, which is also called as a main frame. Okay. So different methods are there. We will see what are those methods are available. First of all, let us import test expect from Playwright test. And now I'm writing one test method. And two parameters we need to pass. Frames, or I can say frames demo, comma, arrow function, curly brace. And get the page picture, use async method, right? So first thing, we need to launch our web page. So let me launch await page.go to the URL of the web page. Now, so what are the things we can do on the page with respect to frames? So before performing an actions, so we can count how many pages, how many frames are there in the particular page. So we can also find out how many number of frames present in the particular web page. So we have a method called frames. So the first thing, total number of frames present on the web page, total number of frames. So take the page picture. Inside this, we have a method called frames. So by using this method, we can get number of frames. Basically, the frames method will return array of frame. Means what? Every frame is an element actually. Every frame is an element. So this will basically return an array of all the frames attached to the particular web page. So we can store them in a variable. I can say const frames, and the type is an array type. What is the type of this variable is what? It is an array of frames. So how we can define this? I can say frames and array. But again, if you say frames here, you can look at this. Frames of an array. This is the return type. This is the actual type. And these frames we need to import actually. So cannot find frames unresolved. We need to import some different packages for these frames. So for now, let it be there default. So page.frames basically returns the array of frames. You can say frame and then bracket. See this. This is the type actually. And this page is not returning any promise. It is basically saying unresolved. Okay, so let me remove for now. Right, so now we capture all the frames into frames, and let us see how we can find them. I say console.log off frames dot. So because what is a frame here? Frame is basically an array, right? So from the array, how we can find size? How many elements are there in array? How we can find it? How we can find it? Using length, right? Simple. Frames dot length. So this will actually print a number of frames present in a web page. So like I say, number of frames. Simple. Okay, this is one thing we can do before starting. So let us try to print this. Stuff dialogs. I say frames.spec.ts and just remove headed mode because I just want to count number of frames. I'm running headless mode, so you won't see the UI. Yes, now you can see the total number of frames are 7. And if I look at here, we can see only 5, right? This is the first frame, second frame, third frame, fourth frame, 5 frame. But what about the 2 frames? So this is 1 frame, sixth, and if I click on this, you will get another frame. Totally 7 frames are there. Okay, so this is the one way we can capture the total number of frames. So now, how to interact elements which are present inside the frames? That is important thing. So how we can interact with the elements which are present inside the frame? So if you try to interact with this element directly, it will throw an error because this is a part of the frame. This element is a part of the frame. So to handle this, to handle the frames, we have 2 different approaches suggested by Playwright itself. So there are 2 different approaches. So let's go to the documentation and search for frames. Right, so you can see that. So they have given multiple approaches. The first approach is using frame locator we can handle, and without using frame locator also we can handle. So this is the first, we can capture the frame, and by using the frame, we can get the we can first capture the frame by using any of these methods. So the first option is what? By using page picture, we have to extract the frame. Page.frame, you can pass the name of the frame. If the name is available for the frame, name attribute is available, you can directly pass the name and that will return the frame. And by using the frame, we can handle the element. This is one approach. If the name is available, we can go with this. Suppose sometimes the name is not available, but URL is available for the frame. So in that case, you can say page.frame and you can pass URL colon the value of the URL inside the curly braces. And that also return the frame. So once you get a frame, you can interact the elements which are present inside the frame. This is second approach. So third approach, this is third approach. For example, in the frame, there is an element directly. So then you can use frame.fill, the locator of the element, and you can pass the value. So multiple approaches are there. This is all one single approach. Page.frame is a method. And there is another approach called frame locator. So you can get the frame first, and inside the frame, there is an element with this label. And that element we can directly capture and you can perform the action. So these are the 2 different approaches are there. So I'll show you practically. First, we'll start with one approach. Approach 1. Using frame itself. So in approach 1, we will use just page.frame. Okay, page.frame. In the second approach, page.frame locator we use. So page.frame using page.frame. So this is approach 1. Listen carefully. These are all important in interview perspective. So don't compare with the Selenium. So Selenium is totally different approach which we have. Right. So how we can handle the frame using page.frame. So if I look at the frame, so I'm dealing with the first frame, for example. Here, first frame, I have an input box, right? If I inspect this element, this is the frame element actually. So I don't have any name attribute for this. Only SRC available. So we cannot use other attributes. We can use only name if directly available. Or else we can use URL. These are the only 2 options which we have to capture the frame. Either we go with the name or URL. So currently we don't have a name here. So we can capture the URL. So here, this is the URL. Under the frame, you can see the document. Sometimes this URL will be present here itself directly, because in SRC, they provided the shortcut URL actually. So if I click on this link, it will go to this one. This is the complete full link. So this URL we need to capture. So this is the URL we need to capture. Just copy this link address, go back, and need to capture the frame. So how to capture the frame? Page picture dot frame, and here we need to pass the URL. How to pass the URL? In the curly braces, first we need to keep curly braces, and we need to pass it in the key and value pair. So URL is a key, fixed key. We should not change it. Colon, singular double quotes, specify the URL. That's it. So this is the procedure. So this will actually return the frame element that we are storing in a variable, const a frame. And if you see the return type of this frame, it will return either frame, or if the frame is not available with this URL, for example, then returns null, but it will not fail. Okay, this statement will not fail if the frame is not available. If the frame is available, returns a frame. If it is frame is not available, then returns the null. Both the choices are there. It will return either frame, or it can return null also if the frame is not exist. So when you're interacting with the frame, we need to also verify the frame is exist or not. If the frame is exist, then only we can interact. If the frame is not exist, we cannot do anything, which is returning null. So we capture the frame here. So once we capture the frame, what we need to do inside the frame, we need to grab this element. My first element we need to grab. So when we need to grab this element from this frame, if the frame is exist, then we need to grab, right? So what I say, if condition I keep, if frame exist, if the frame is exist. So basically what is this frame? Frame returns a frame. So this frame method returns a frame. So if it is a true, if it is a frame exist, so then I will perform an action. So what action I will perform? I need to interact with this element. So inspect this element, and this is an input element. So what are the attributes are there? Name element, name is there. So tag name is input, a name attribute is there. So let us try this name attribute. Go back to selector hub and see this. I'm keeping this inside the attributes. As I said, tag is optional. One element is match. Even selector hub also will give you this element is inside the same origin frame, switch inside the iframe and access to automation. So this is pointing to the element. So observe carefully. Normally, to locate an element, how we will locate? We will write a page dot locator, and then here we specify the locator element, right? But this time, this element is present inside the frame. So instead of page, we have to use frame. Okay, instead of the page, we have to use frame. So this frame dot locator, and this is a locator, is a basically input box. And what we need to do on this input box, we can pass some text. So how we can pass the text? Dot fill of, can pass some text. Let's say hello. This is how we can pass. So we will capture the locator element from the frame, and then we fill it. This is one approach. So there is another approach. For example, you can do like this. Take the frame, directly use fill method. And inside this, two parameters we need to pass. The first parameter is the locator, on which element you want to pass. The second parameter is the value you need to pass, like this. So this is another approach. And this fill method will return a promise. So you need to keep await here. Even here, this fill method returns the promise. Here also we need to keep await. So this is one approach I have used, which is mentioned in their official document. Now you can see this. So this is the approach. Interact with the frame. So frame dot fill element, and I pass the value. So frame dot fill element and pass the value. And suppose if that element is some radio button, for example, then how we can do? Frame dot check radio button element and some label, the label of the radio button, something like this. So this method is applicable. This is also an applicable using fill method directly from the frame. Other than this, we can go with the regular approach. So what is the regular approach? Frame dot locator. From the frame, capture the element and fill the text. So this is most recommended one because we can handle any other elements by using this approach. And this approach is limited to very few types of elements, not every element. Okay. So enable this. So when we need to do this activity, only if the frame is exist. If frame is not null, because here the frame value can be frame or null. So if it is not null, if frame contains some value, then we will get the element from the frame and fill that value. Else, what we can do if the frame is not available, if frame is null, so then what we can do, we can say console.log of frame is not available. Okay, frame is not available. You can simply put this message. So simple, this is how we can interact with the element. And without putting this if condition, especially the TypeScript, you cannot directly look at the element in the frame. So for example, I'm just keeping this statement here. So I'm not using if else condition. Okay. I'm not using if else condition. So I already captured the frame here. So what I will do immediately, I say frame dot locator and locate the element and fit. See what is an error it is giving. Frame is possibly null. Possibly null. So it can return null also, right? The frame value can be null also. If it is a null, it cannot locate the element. So this is strictly typed. So in the TypeScript, you will see this error. But if you write the same code in JavaScript, you don't see this error because this is TypeScript will strictly follow the type. So that is the reason it cannot perform any further actions on this null if it is null. But there is a possibility, right? If the frame is not available, it returns null. So that is the reason we should keep this inside the if condition. In JavaScript, there is no problem. You can directly keep it. Okay, now we have captured the first frame, right? So if the frame is exist, then go and get the element and print the value. Else, simply say frame is not available, right? Now let's go and execute. So I'll keep await page dot wait for timeout. It is just keeping for seeing the value at the runtime, 5,000 seconds. So currently I have only one test. So let me run this. I am running in the headed mode. Okay. One is post. Let me run once again. Okay, now you can look at the page and element. Exactly the value is got printed on the input box. Right, so this is one approach using page.frame. As I said, 3 different approaches, right? By using page.frame, this is an approach. And another approach is what? Frame locator. Frame locator is another approach. Now, so we'll see another approach, how we can do this using another approach, frame locator. Right. So I'll just continue the script. Next one. Using frame locator. So this time we will try to handle another frame. Approach to using frame locator, how we can handle. So let it be there. This code is fine. So now I'm trying to handle another element from the another frame. Okay. Now let's go back to the page. So from this particular frame, and also I'll try to demonstrate child frame concept in this example. Okay, let us take another frame, which is 3. Okay, because in the frame 3, we have a direct element. Apart from this, we also have some inner frame. This is a child element of the child frame of the frame 3. So that also we will see how we can handle child frames, right? So directly capture the frame 3 element. So inspect and go to this. This is actually frame 3, frame3.html. And what is the URL of this? This is the URL. Copy this link address. Now this time I'm using frame locator method. This is alternative approach. So to get the frame using frame locator, what I'll do is I will try to create another test that is a better. Let's keep this one side. Inner frames, or we can say child frames. So this time I will run only this particular test. Okay, now launch the page, and we don't need this for now. Let me remove this. And this is the second approach I'm setting, right? So here using frame locator, we can locate the element. We do one thing. So this test, I will use it for inner frame handling later. So what I'll do is in the same test, in the previous test, approach 1 we have done. So let's go to the approach 2. All right. So another approach using frame locator, how we can locate the frame. So same thing, same procedure, but instead of using page.frame, we use frame locator method. Okay, page.frame locator method, exactly the same. Right. So when I use frame locator, what is an advantage is you can locate the frame by using any attribute. Okay, when I use page.frame method, you can use either name or the URL of the frame. Only two possibilities are there. But when I use page.frame locator method, you can use any locator, any attribute of the frame. Okay, it can be ID or attribute, CSS, whatever attributes are there for the frame, you can use it. So that is an additional advantage of using frame locator. But when I use page.frame, you can use either URL of the frame or name of the particular frame. Right. So now I'm trying to locate same element again. And we have located here, right? Frame 1. So if you want to use frame locator, you can say page.frame locator. So this is the method. When I say frame locator, we can pass any locator. It can be CSS, CSS XPath, any either Playwright locator, any type of locator we can pass. Page.frame locator. And in this time I will pass CSS for that element. Again, I'm taking the first page itself. And frame 3 we will handle later. And if I go back and inspect the first page, first frame, this is my first frame. Now this time I'm not using this URL. We will try to use any attribute. So do we have any attributes for the first frame? Yes, we have an SRC attribute, right? So let's capture this. Now using any attribute, we can capture the frame. So now what I'll do is here, approach to, I'll give a different name here or else remove from now. Page.frame locator, and I'll put CSS src equal to frame1.html. Okay, this is the locator. So this is the locator of the frame. So what this will return, frame locator will return the frame locator. This is a return type of the frame locator method. So once it is located, I will continue the action. So once it is located, the frame followed by dot locator, and here you can pass the element. So this is the frame locator. So we got the locator of the frame. From there, we navigated to the another element. So what is this element? Input element. Inspect, and take this name equal to my text one. So that is also CSS that you can pass it here. And inside this element, we can fill the value. Say fill, and say value like this. So this is single statement, everything is done. So by using frame locator, we capture the frame, and inside the frame, we have this element. And again, located that element using locator. And we need to keep this inside the bracket. Okay, attribute and value. And after that, here also we forgot to put this bracket. So after that, we fill the value in input box. So this is the complete statement using frame locator. Okay, suppose if you don't want to fill here, you can capture that element. So ultimately, what is the element we are returning here? Input box we are returning. So that we can store in a variable. I can say const input box. And then you can use this input box. Input box dot fill. Here you can pass the value like this. Okay, so this is how we can do. So simple steps. So here we don't need any conditions or nothing. But when I use page.frame, we need to first check the frame is exist or not here. This is, if the frame is available, then condition become true. If the frame is null, then else block will execute. But if you are using frame locator, then you can directly pass the locator and grab the element, whichever element you want from that particular frame. And what is the difference between page.frame and page.frame locator? Page.frame allows only the URL or the name of the frame. But frame locator allows any kind of a locator of the particular frame. Okay. So this is also correct. So let me try this code. So first one, I'll try to commit the first approach. Now, let us try the second approach. Terminal, then run it. Very faster. And it went very faster. Just a moment. This one. You can see the output in the exact in input box, the value is got entered. And after 5 seconds, it is got closed. Okay. So these are the two approaches, guys. Either we can use the page.frame or you can use page.frame locator. So it is an important question during an interview also. Please remember that. Okay. So the fill method is returning a promise also. So promise. So keep it await also here. Await. Okay. Perfect. So during interview, they will definitely ask one question. What is the difference between page.frame and page.frame locator? So you need to understand that. All right. So now let us move on to the next one, how to handle inner frames. It's very simple. Let me tell you how to handle inner frames or child frames. Let me copy this test, create another test. And this is inner or child frames demo. So I'll try to remove all these things for now. Yeah, I will run only this particular test. Right. So here we have some inner frames or nested frame inside the frame 3. So I'm directly capturing the frame 3 element. Frame 3 element. So inspect the frame 3. And if I go back, this is actual iframe within frame 3. But if I go back here, this is a frame 3. And what is the URL of the frame 3? This is a one. So copy this link address, go back. Now I capture the frame. How to capture the frame? So how to capture it? Await page dot frame, and we need to pass the URL of the frame. If I use frame locator, then you can use directly any locator of the frame. So page.frame URL colon, then you need to pass the URL. So this is the format. So here await is not required. So page.frame will return the frame actually. So it can return either null or frame. So I call it as a frame3 const frame3. So now I get the frame3. Now in the frame3, we have an input element. So I will grab this element, inspect, and name equal to my text3. So this is a text. So from the frame3, I will grab that element. So frame3 dot locator of, specify this locator. So can we put directly like this, frame3 dot locator? Because the frame3 can be null or it can be a frame, right? So we cannot directly write like this. This is the procedure. Frame3 dot locator. If you just keep question mark, then it is resolve the problem. So I'll tell you one thing here. So we grab the frame here, frame3. So once you grab the frame3, immediately what we should do? We should get the locator element from the frame3. So basically frame is not returning any promise. It is just returning either null or frame. That's it. So here we don't need await before the page. But once you get a page 3, right? So this locator is also not returning any promise. It's just returning the locator, no problem. So when I use frame3.locator, and in this, I want to fill the text. So fill some, I said welcome. So can we do like this directly? So we have already tried this in the previous example. So this is giving an error, right? So frame3 is possibly null. So that is the reason we put this in the if condition, right? If you want to avoid if condition, then you can use something called question mark. So that becomes the optional. Question mark is representing an optional parameter. So when I say question mark, the problem can be resolved. But this is not the best practice. So what you can do is you can put this again in if condition. If frame3, and then continue whatever you want to do in this particular frame3. So all things we can keep inside the if condition. And else, for example, if the frame is not available, or the frame is not found, then console.log off, you can say frame3 is not found. You can print like this. So if else condition. Now, if the frame3 is exist, then whatever you want to perform on the frame3, you can put everything in the if condition. So first thing what I'm doing here, frame3 dot locator, find the locator dot fill. So here the fill method return the promise. So here we need to put await. This is the first activity. So I'm trying to fill the value in the input box, frame3 directly. Okay, so this is the first activity. We will see how to handle the child frame also in the frame3. So after that, I will try to wait for some time after exiting from this. Right, so let's execute and see. First, we have directly handle input box element from the frame3 itself. You can see that values got entered successfully. Now, we are currently in the frame3. Now we need to capture the inner frame. So in the iframe3, we have another frame here. So now we need to capture this iframe inside the frame3. Then we can interact with these elements like this. There are many number of elements are there. We can interact with them. This is very important steps. Sometimes the frame3 contains multiple child elements. So here I have only one single child element, but sometimes you may have multiple child elements. You need to find out first. And if I look at this frame3, if I refresh the page again, frame3 contains one child element. We will see how many child elements are there in the frame3. So for that, what we need to do is in this particular frame3 itself, we can find how many child frames are there. So to find the child frames, take the frame element dot child frames. This is the method. So what this method will return, the child frames method will return array of frames. Again, all child frames. So whatever child frames are available, all the child frames will be written in the form of an array. So that I'm going to store in another variable. I'll say const child frames. Okay, now I grab the child frames. Can we count how many are there? Yes, these child frames will not return any promise, so promise is not written. So if you want to count how many child frames are there, you can say console.log. You can say child frames inside the frame 3. Inside the frame 3. Here I'm printing child frames dot length because it is an array. So we can simply print a number of child frames. All right, perfect. So let us execute till here and see how many child frames are there. Okay, enter that value. Yes, now you can see child frames inside the frame, just say only one. But actually, when I say one means only one child frame is there. Only one is there. So here, only one child frame exists. Okay. So we have done how many, we have counted how many child frames are there in the iframe 3. Now, in that particular child page, child frame, we want to interact with some element. Let us say, I want to select some checkbox, a radio button. I am a human. I want to select this radio button inside the child frame. There is only one child frame. So how we can access the child frame from this? So I already captured all the child frames in this. There is only one child frame. Now I want to access. Let us assume sometimes it can be 2, sometimes it can be 3, 4, 5. So among those child frames, I want to capture my child frame, particular child frame. How we can capture? Because it is an array. If it is an array, how we can capture the value from an array? Using index. So currently there is only one child frame we have. So we can happily grab that child frame by passing 0 index or not. Yes. Because array index will start from 0. 0 means only one element. So child frames of 0, this will actually return the frame. And inside the frame, we want to capture one element. What is that element? I am a human. Can we capture this element using label? Playwright method is there, right? Get by label. So you can use it. Dot. Or else you can write a locator also. You can write any locator and you can use CSS, XPath or whatever. So for radio button checkboxes, it is easy to use Playwright locator. So I'm using get by label and then pass this label. So this will get the radio button. And if you want to store it, you can put that in a variable. I can say const, say radio. So this is a element actually. From the child frame, we grab this element and store it in the radio. Now we want to select that radio button. Check it. How to select the radio button? Radio dot check. Check is a method. So this will select radio button. So now I want to verify whether it is selected or not. So how we can select, how we can verify? Expect radio dot, yes. What is the method we can use? It is selected or not? How we can check? To be selected, to be checked, be checked. So this is the assertion. So to be checked will return promise. So you should use a wait statement in front of this. Even check method also return the promise. So here also await. Okay. So this is the assertion. Done. So what we have done inside this, we grab the frame 3 first and we find out the number of child frames and we grab the first child frame. As of now, we have only one child frame, 0. And in the child frame, we grab the element and we have checked that element. Basically, it is a radio button. If it's input box or checkbox, you can handle it differently. And then we put the assertion. Right? So this is how we can handle this child frames. Suppose you have 2 frames. Now you want to perform action on the second frame. So then grab the second frame by passing proper index and then get the element. So this is the procedure. Index will start from 0. That's the reason I started from 0. But when you find length, it is counting from 1 itself. Count length method, length keyword will count array size from 1 itself. But with the time of grabbing the values from the array, we use index from 0 itself. Okay, that's it. So now let us execute and see whether it is able to select the radio button or not. Just see this. Frame 3, yes. Now you can see the radio button is got selected. I am a human. The radio button is got selected. And then my assertion is also got passed. Right? So this is a way we can handle child frames or inner frames. Okay. So now we can happily switch to one frame to another frame. So frame 3 means what? Frame 3. And again, child frame of 0 means what? It's the child frame. Because every frame we maintain a separate variable. So in whichever frame you want to work, you can grab that frame element and you can find the locators which are present inside the particular frame. So just like Selenium, here we don't have any switching concept. But in Selenium, it is totally different. So if you want to locate any element, first we need to switch to the frame, then grab it. But here, we don't need that concept. We need to capture the frame from that frame element. So here by using page.frame, we capture the frame. And by using the frame, we can get element by using locators. So this is the procedure which we follow in Playwright to handle the frames or iframes. Okay. So this is the concept of frames. I will provide some assignments. You guys can try later. So for the frames on the same page, I will give an assignment. So you guys can try. So in the same page, what you need to do is first go to the first frame, enter some value. Again, go to the second frame also, enter some value. And go to the third frame, enter some value. Fourth frame also you can try directly. Frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4 are direct. And most important thing is frame 5. So in the frame 5, provide some value like this. And you also verify whether the value is provided or not. Then you need to click on this link. From the frame 5, you need to click on this link. After waiting for a few seconds, you will get a new page. So in this particular page, you need to verify this logo is present or not. Okay. So 5 frames. So you need to handle this. So I will provide the solution for this, but you guys can try yourself, especially frame 5. I'm expecting from you. Frame 1, 2, 3, 4 is easy. Frame 3 is also easy because we have only one frame inside this. But in the frame 5, we have an input box. Again, if you click on this link, you will get another page. So this is also a page. Okay, so just try this and very important. And you will learn a lot of things on this assignment. This is frame related assignment. And for alert related assignment, I will create an assignment. I will provide you later. Okay. So first try practice these examples and then try to do the assignments. In the next class, we will continue further. Okay. So this is all about dialogues, handling dialogues and inner frames or frames. Important concept. So please do practice on this.